listening to What the Truck.
Boom! Chad, we're getting a little bit closer to Judgment Day. Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Whoa!
A Japanese billionaire.
Uh-huh.
The guy's name is Senke.
Huh?
He built a system called HAL. It's a cybernetic system.
Sweet.
And his company, get this, Cyberdyne Systems. You think we're testing fate here? And would you consider becoming a cyborg?
Well, I'm already pretty digitized, if you can't tell. No, I am. I'm actually a replicant.
Ooh.
I just wanted to let you know. It's okay. I mean, look, I look and feel completely normal.
Speaking of replicants, we were in two places at one time. Well, we were in a million places at one time, but we were in two. We were at CSCMP Edge on the FreightWaves booth, being live streamed to viewers there. I was going to say concert goers, but the real concert of FreightWaves Live. But CSCMP looked pretty cool, too. And some of our friends online, I saw, Mr. Supply Chain. He posted a nice selfie with that.
Shout out.
Yeah, one of those.
Daniel
the guy
Stanton.
from Trucker Tools. It wasn't Rod Shadow, because Rod Shadow is who we interviewed, but one other gentleman.
Well, is it the original me here right now or the clone?
That's what I'm saying.
You decide.
If you could clone, imagine how much money FreightWaves could make if they could just clone us and just send us to every conference that's happening at the same time.
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah. But doesn't work twice as much, man. Do you want to get to the headlines? It feels good to get back, doesn't it?
It does. It's great to be back here in the Truth Booth. And yes, I'd love to hit some headlines, let everybody know what's going on.
Yeah. The nice thing about hitting the road, though, is did you introduce yourself? We never do. We never introduce ourselves. We're like, do we just assume people know?
We kind of forget. Forget that.
That's Chad Prevost.
Well, thanks for introducing me. And this is Tim Dooner.
Yeah, but most people call me Dooner, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're mad at me.
Not Timothy.
All right.
But first, Dooner, we got to pay the bills.
This episode of What the Truck is brought to you by TruckStop.com, the world's most trusted load board. Want to find the best carriers at the best rates? See market data, build relationships, and grow your business with TruckStop.com. Visit TruckStop.com today for more information.
Whoa. Oh, as we know well.
Wipe the blood off your nose.
Right.
Yeah, we got out just in time. Texas is swamped by major flooding. The last day we were there at the Insight Conference in downtown Houston, it was really, really coming down. We managed to find like a little pocket because we were close enough to walk.
We got a window.
We were at that Hampton Inns and Suites.
Yeah.
But either way, it's Tropical Depression Imelda. She continues to slam southeastern Texas.
It's a weird name.
Imelda, yeah.
Imelda.
Texas.
Where did they get that? Is that Greek?
I don't know. And it would. I don't think it's not a hurricane because like Dora wouldn't E be next in that line of hurricanes?
It's a depression, which it makes you depressed. It's so much rain, and yet it's not exciting like an actual hurricane.
Well, it's nailing southwestern Louisiana with copious amounts of rain and life-threatening flooding. Galveston and Belmont, and when we were there, we saw in the news Galveston was supposed to get 18 inches of rain. That's a hell of a lot of rain.
The day after.
Yeah, it was a big part of the Houston freight market. They've been hit with they've been some of the hardest hit with flooded streets. There's been government roadblocks, government shutdowns, and school closings. Yeah,
the relentless downpours and flooding won't even stop today. At all costs, truckers should avoid areas from just east of Houston northward to Tyler, Texas, as well as lanes eastward to Lake Charles and Shreveport, Louisiana. The Texas Department of Transportation is reporting closures on portions of that dangerous I-10 around Beaumont, Texas, and additional road closures are a strong possibility. As of this morning, BNSF and Union Pacific have not reported any outages on their rails in the region yet. So, that's the update there in real time.
Yeah, be safe, right? Be safe out there.
Yes.
To quote Nick Austin, who there's no replicant of him here.
Nick Stone Cold Austin, that is the real-time news coming to you from us, our originals.
Stone Hot Austin in Houston.
Yeah.
Where are the people? No people in the streets there. It's just weird.
Great infrastructure.
Yeah,
not a lot of people.
According to some.
They were underground, I think.
I guess so.
So Trump's action is blocking California Emissions Authority. It will not impact trucking for now. The Trump administration's decision to revoke a waiver allowing California to set its own standards for automobile emissions will not impact regulations governing heavy-duty trucks, but questions do remain about how the decision will influence the development of future environmental policies governing the commercial vehicle industry. David Cleghorn, a public information officer.
I think you nailed that.
Thank you. With CARB, the California Air Resources Board said in an email to FreightWaves, the waiver the U.S. EPA is threatening applies only to passenger vehicles. It has nothing to do with heavy-duty regulations.
Yeah, a leader in state efforts to reduce greenhouse emissions, California has adopted pollution standards for cars and trucks that are much stronger than the national mandate.
I'd say.
But in a widely anticipated move, the Trump administration announced on September 18th that it was axing a key provision giving California the authority to enforce pollution requirements in passenger vehicles.
Yeah.
The news follows a Department of Justice decision earlier this month to launch an antitrust investigation into a July deal between the Golden State and 4 automakers. Not the Golden State Warriors. The Golden
Not
State
to be
of
confused
California.
with. Yes.
In the agreement, Ford, Volkswagen, Honda, and BMW agreed to abide by California's stricter fuel economy standards, even if Trump follows through on his plan to roll back federal fuel economy standards put in place by the Obama administration.
Interesting.
Yeah, looks like they're not going to listen to it, right?
Yeah, they're going to continue to try to meet the policy standards of California, and that they're setting for themselves.
Well, a lot of corporate responsibilities happening with that, including at FreightWaves.
Yeah, oh, right.
You've read the news today. FreightWaves pledges to offset carbon footprint for our event series. The Chattanooga startup, us, announces a green pledge.
I love it.
Yeah.
Great to be a part of this.
Yeah, I mean, and this is great. So, and this is written from the first person, but I guess I'll read it. I think the science of climate change is sound, and the impact will be felt on our planet for generations to come. I also believe that hydrocarbons are fundamental to our economy and remain the most efficient way to deliver energy through technology. Will eventually overcome the issue.
Yeah, this is Craig Fuller's vision.
Yeah.
He wrote this.
Yeah, and he writes that until that day, we have a corporate responsibility to do something. That's why we are implementing a green pledge, a promise that FreightWaves will encourage sustainability in our activities, events, and products while empowering our team to search for ideas, concepts, and innovations that can help the industry do more with less. A little cowbell for that.
Yeah, innovation.
A little cowbell for Craig Fuller.
Sustainability. I love the vision. Great to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And get this, Dooner. Earlier this year, FreightWaves purchased carbon offsets to mitigate our corporate emissions footprint. We plan to increase these offsets as we continue to grow. And so today, in keeping with our green pledge, we, FreightWaves, we're announcing that we will be offsetting the carbon footprint at the live event, as we were just saying.
Yeah, FreightWaves Live.
And other, all of our
future event series.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, it was easy for me to say, I suppose. Attendees won't have to do anything to become a part of the pledge. Don't worry on that. Mm-hmm. Following FreightWaves Live, we will buy carbon offsets from TerraPass to create a carbon neutral footprint for our attendees. These offsets will cover estimated attendee air and car travel, hotel, food, water, and event center accommodations, and of course, the badass LEDs that help drive the experience.
Good stuff. How do you feel about it?
I feel terrific. I feel sustained.
I even think, I think there might be even some gamification going on. There's definitely going to be an awareness puts that. But I really love the image that was on the article, and it's just a green version of our blue stage. It's a simple touch, but a really compelling one.
Yes. Visually memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? We took that air flight recently, and we saw a very interesting article that we were going to talk about for our focus. We don't need another person for this one.
We literally...
You and me. Woo, let's dive deep.
We literally, the people say, well, give us the 35,000 foot view.
Yeah.
We literally were at 35,000 feet while reading this artitle.
All of our best ideas come when we travel together, too.
It does seem to be true. It's like kind of shake things up. What are they called? Sometimes your best thoughts are in the shower. They're called gamma thoughts or gamma.
I don't know.
That's
what turned the Incredible Hulk into the Hulk.
Not gamma rays. Your gamma wavelengths.
By the way, shout out to the Army recruits that were on our Delta Airlines flight.
Yeah.
There was a group there we went on, and the flight was maybe about 75% full. So Chad and I were able to move and sit next to each other, and we gave some Army guys our seats, some new recruits. They were going off to basic training, and congratulations to Delta for recognizing those young shoulders. Yeah. And looking at them made me feel so old, too. It's just weird as you get old, an 18-year-old just looks so young.
Right.
I'm like, you're just children.
And they were going off to basic training, tough stuff.
So, but the big topic and the big trending topic in there was this article out of the box, and it was in the Delta Sky magazine, and it really got us talking about subscription services.
Yeah, so do you remember back in the day, did you ever do one of these things where you joined the Columbia Record Club and you'd get the free 12 free tapes?
Send in a penny?
12 for a penny, and then as long
BMG?
as... Yeah, or whatever it was. And as long as you would, like, buy one a month for the next, few months, then you could get them. And, like, so that's kind of what we're talking about with subscription, but better. It's way different.
Well, I mean, if you've ever listened to a podcast, too, you've been inundated with the ads on all of the major podcasts, except for ours. There are ads for all of these different subscription services. You've probably heard of, like, Blue Apron with their food.
There's one.
Dollar Shave Club.
Yeah.
One of them that I didn't think of that the article talked about, because you were like, do you subscribe to any of these things, Dooner? And I said, well, actually, because they mentioned, I was going to say no at first. I did do Dollar Shave Club for a little bit, but I wasn't pleased with the razors. But I do Amazon Subscribe and Save. So every month they send me, or every couple of months, they send me a replenishment of a good.
Well, before we even, let's think about that. I like to occasionally when we have these talks or examine kind of a something happening in the industry, let's explore whether we think it is a fad or a trend. We're always looking for those trend stories, right?
Sure.
Those stories that are going to evolve. So the booming subscription e-commerce market.
Tony Parker.
Fad or trend, Duna?
The subscription market is a fad or trend. Well, one of the things that I've been reading, and before I even read the article, was that they're doing a great job of recruiting customers, first-time buyers, and it's costing them a lot. Their CAC is huge.
Who's the they?
All
you
of
mean
these
entrepreneurs for the these
well,
companies?
a lot of these companies. So they're going out and they're giving out coupons, or free subscription to get people addicted to the service or to get used to the service of having things delivered.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cost involved in that, especially in the shipping cost and the final mile of bringing goods. So I think that right now it's obviously a trend, and it's grown by more than 100% annually from 2013 until 2018.
Yeah. And apparently, too, there's still lots of room for growth in the industry, and the barrier for entry is really low. But what brands are now getting faced with in these, I don't know what you might call it. If it is a trend, it might be turning into the middle innings here.
Yeah.
In terms of the maturity of the industry. Maybe still early. I mean, we could argue that, but it's getting harder and harder to get attention, like you were saying. And then it's harder and harder to sustain that attention.
Yeah. To use this term that I kind of hate, and it always it irks me, is stickier. But to make yourself stickier. I don't know why it irks me so much. It's just one of those words I have a pet peeve against.
Well, apparently what these brands, like any brand, I suppose, is trying to do, but they want to be indispensable in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what is there anything that's indispensable?
Well, I was going to say, what I found interesting about the article is that, you and I may not have a huge value. It's not a huge value proposition to us, or we just haven't gotten it in our blood yet. What I did found interesting was that for people who like these services, the active subscriber, it said, the average one holds 2, but nearly 35% have more than 3 of those services.
I thought that was interesting. So over a third, or around a third of the consumers of subscription-based e-commerce services like it enough. They're doing it multiple times, 3 or more.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Also, here's another interesting statistics for you stat nerds out there. McKinsey's latest data collection on this subject. They say that the largest subscription retailers generated, and this is 2016, in 2016, more than $2.6 billion. And now if you compare that, it's all the way up from in 2011. It was only 57 million.
Yeah, but get this. There's still room for growth.
Yeah.
Wait, there's more. Because only
15%
of total online shoppers have even signed up for one or more subscription service. And I guess if it gets sticky, they would sign up for 2 or 3.
Another little demographic thing of point of interest here is that you're most likely to be an e-commerce subscriber if you're between the ages of 25 and 44. I don't know what that means for the 45-year-old.
Yeah.
You're getting a little out.
You're out of there. You're just outside
thanks.
of the
You're just revealing me. Yeah, I know. I'm totally out of it. And if they're earning kind of between $50,000 and $100,000, they're in.
It describes me. And I am. I do that Amazon replenish.
You're right. And as a matter of fact, I kind of don't do it.
Well,
interestingly enough, because I'm very wary.
Types, though. Well, I'm going to say there's 3 types. So you don't do any of these?
No, because tell us the types.
there's curation services, which is like when you
curation.
get a box of stuff and they pick out some clothing
Could
for
be like
you.
Stitch Fix.
Yeah, something like that. Which and maybe they should sponsor our attire. You know, wear a little bit. We'll put it on the F for you. But the curation service, that makes up 55%. Or curated meals, like a Blue Apron or something.
Right.
Then there's the replenishment, which is I do like Amazon Subscribe and Save, where they send me X amount of razors every 3 months and cat food and stuff like that. And then there's access, where people spend money to get access to deals.
Yeah, those three. And those are the least.
None of those appeal to you?
Replenishment. I mean, so occasionally, like I'm on Amazon and, maybe I'll need some toilet paper or some Tide or something. And then it'll ask you, do you want this once a month? And I'm like, I feel, I'm wary from my Columbia record deal days where it's hard to get. I don't want to have to think about it again. And I don't want to also, by the way, start getting front loaded with just like, I don't want my front stoop I don't want to have 500 rolls of toilet paper before I remember to go turn the button off.
And you bring up a great point. So it's eventually like with the Subscribe and Save, the Amazon, it's almost like Lucy in the Chocolate Factory, Eventually, like, I'm getting so much toilet paper and so much contact lens solution and so many razor blades, and like, do I really look like I need that many razor blades?
Yeah.
That like I have a surplus of them, and then that's when I cancel, and that's the issue.
I think it was
that a lot of these brands are having is just containing the buyer.
Containing it, they're not as essential. I think it was Violet Beauregard and Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. I don't think there was a Lucy.
We gotta go to.
Okay, so that was
Lucy. I Love Lucy.
Oh,
I Love Lucy.
You said in the chocolate factory.
Yeah, she works in a chocolate factory. I Love Lucy, and all the chocolates going on. Like, do you never watch TV Land or anything?
But no, not even then.
Holy cow!
Anyway, so you're saying trend on this, not fad.
No, I think there's aspects of it that will survive, but I don't think as many services that are out there right now will. And I think it's interesting what like Blue Apron is doing is like they're putting their stuff in grocery stores.
Last thought on it. I agree. I think trend, but what I think that we're about to see in the industry is a lot of is some consolidation.
Well, we'll follow up with this later, but we got to get on the radar.
With Blake England.
On the radar. Presented by Sonar.
Looking a little sweaty.
Just wait. You spend 7 minutes in here. You'll be walking out a bucket of water. Your little armpits over there and your Hawaiian shirt will look like
we'll
you've
see
been in
how you are. You want to put some cans on?
Yeah.
Increase the heat right now?
It's linen, so it breathes pretty well.
Oh. We mentioned at the beginning of the show that we were in Houston at Insight. You were at CSCMP Edge in Anaheim.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. What's the report from the floor? We covered in depth Insight in our 2 shows from Houston earlier in the week. Go back and watch those on YouTube or freightwaves.com/podcast if you just want to hear us and don't want to look at us. But anyways, tell us about the conference.
It was awesome. The Anaheim Convention Center is pretty cool. It's right across the street from Disneyland, so there's a lot of people walking across the street with Mickey Mouse ears everywhere. So it was fun. There was a lot of shippers.
Did you go across the street and did you spend some time at the Magic
Did you
Kingdom?
see Kyle on his honeymoon?
I know. He was actually in Disney World, but I thought it was ironic.
That's across the
Wait a second. They have Galaxy's Edge up at Disneyland and Disney World?
Yes. So Galaxy's Edge.
Are there 2 Magic Kingdoms?
There's just one.
Oh,
the thing is with Disneyland is it's landlocked. So they basically, if they want to add like an avatar or something, they have to tear something down. So
that's sad.
I've been many times. I used to live out in California for a while. It's the California Institute of the Arts, and I'd been multiple times. I like that haunted. It's old school, but it's like
the Tower of Terror,
the Haunted Manor. No, the Haunted Manor.
Okay, I think they rebranded that to Guardians of the Galaxy at Disneyland.
You're a little out of touch.
Yeah.
All right. So forget about Disneyland. We want to talk about CSCMP Edge. What was going on inside there? What in that Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, so they had a great exhibition floor. FreightWaves actually, obviously I'm biased, but we had the best booth. As far as like LED boards. So the espresso machine on day 1, that was a large hit.
Oh, I could see that.
We got to experience that lovely thing at McLeod.
Nice. Yeah. And the cool thing is, I know that you know this, and probably you too, but we were live streaming you guys at Trimble.
Yeah.
While we had the espresso machine in front of the TV. So
wow.
Was anyone watching?
Sounds very caffeinated.
Wow. I saw. Yeah. And maybe a few people internally too.
Yeah. I heard about that.
Notice that Chad,
that's great to hear.
Your hat's not on backwards today.
No hat. Going. Nope. Yep. Not taking chances. Blake, so you're going to give us some Sonar overview. What are some things trending in the Sonar right now?
Yeah, so
You're checking out.
We are constantly adding new data sets pretty much weekly to Sonar. One of the major ones, which is a big coup for Sonar users specifically, COUP.
Yes.
Yeah, so about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we added 100% of the inbound and outbound rail and intermodal volume across North America.
Blake?
Which is huge.
Blake, talk about content marketing. You know who I interviewed on FreightWaves Insiders, the episode that just came out today?
Who?
The president and CEO of the Association of American Railroads.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
were you keeping it rail?
Yeah, I was keeping it real. Rail.
Didn't.
Boom.
So
right,
we got that new
what's going on with it?
index. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's huge. It's an industry first as far as one platform online that is
Cowbell
putting.
for first.
As far as a platform online, you can't really get it anywhere else aside from Sonar, and it's really gives you deep insights into what's going on in the business of rail and intermodal across all of North America. And from a rates perspective, right now we have 105 origin and destination points for spot rates.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that updates weekly. But overall, it really gives you, an unprecedented view into global trade and port activity, and then it leaks into what's happening in the trucking market as well. So it's big stuff, big time.
Another whole dimension to we cover all kinds of logistics. It's good to have data points for, all the different points. That's great to hear. It sounds very comprehensive. Keeping it rail, man.
Yeah, and if people want to, existing Sonar users, this is a new feature. Sonar gets bigger and bigger. If they want a demo or some instructions on how to access this rail data, or if potential customers are like, oop, that's the secret sauce. Now they get the rail data. Now, I do a lot of intermodal. How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so our Sonar sales team, you can go on our website, go to the Sonar page, request a demo, or you can reach out to me directly. My last name is England. My email is bengland@freightwaves.com. Feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll get you squared away.
Bengland.
Great stuff.
Yep.
Aside from our booth, what would you say? Because we were rating the swag at our conference, and we were looking at all the booths, and we're trying to be as unbiased as possible. What was another great booth that you saw? Because I saw some that Six River Systems. I interviewed a guy named Greg Walls from there, and I know that they just made a big deal. They got a huge acquisition, but they have these robots Chuck, and I saw some of their Chuck robots are at the XPO booth. I don't know if you had a chance to see those.
Yeah, there's a lot of good, a lot of awesome automation as far as robotics. Right next to us, I thought DSC really did a good job.
Yeah.
Shout out to Richie Sager. He's the man. They were giving away, they were doing a golf club raffle. So I think they sponsor
Disc
5.
golf?
No, actual Titleist golf clubs. So I think they sponsor 5 PGA Tour pros.
Yeah.
So that created a lot of traffic.
Nice.
So is the shout out so that you'll maybe win in the raffle?
Golf clubs.
Yes, but Richie knows that I need left-handed clubs, so I'm still waiting on that.
We even knew they were left. I never even knew. I know so little about golf. Except I used to play the Tiger Woods video game.
You don't need to know anything that you don't already know about disc golf.
Yeah.
All
right, Blake, thank you for joining us today.
Appreciate you having me.
Thank you, Blake. Thanks. Blake England, Bengland at FreightWaves.com.
Do I get the cowbell?
Oh, you want to
short me on that?
Of course.
Sorry.
You can't short me on that.
I forgot. I thought I was back on the conference floor. We had to be judicious with our cowbell hitting.
Yeah, you can't.
Not in here.
You can't be obnoxious at the conference.
Go freaking nuts in here.
I have never seen the reverse grip.
Yeah, he went this way.
We went the reverse grip.
I don't know, maybe.
Clever.
I'm not a drummer.
Unintentional.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, I appreciate it, guys.
All right. Thanks, Blake. All right. Is the Dean out there?
We're about to go over the Dean's
list. Is there a
list.
Dean sighting? The mean machine.
This is a new segment. I love when we have Dean in town, and he has been in town more than ever lately, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things about Dean is he usually drives an 18-wheeler down here.
I don't know about if he usually.
Well, a lot of times he does.
He has been known to. He is a fascinating character.
And he does, but sometimes he flies.
I think usually.
Yeah. Is he out there? Is he coming on in?
I'm not sure. He
he's
is coming
down
down as we speak.
Do you think that Dean subscribes to any boxes of goods? Do you think he has any? Is that big in Australia?
I'm going to say, I don't know about Australia, but I'm going to say no. He doesn't fit the demographic.
But there's got to be outliers, right?
Right.
X% are in that, and it was 55%, I think, were in that age group.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe. Does he? Well, we'll have to find out. He is a repository. He's had so many interesting experiences. Do you know that he was like running his dad's tractor in Australia? He was driving that thing when he was 3 years old. He first drove a truck when he was 8. Ladies and gentlemen,
Dean.
Late
to the party.
Let's play our intro.
Yeah, I want him to put his headphones on. Can you close the door behind you? You don't live in a barn.
I got it.
I used to.
Oh,
see?
Did you really? All right, new segment.
Use me, the D's
Whoa, that lady was very excited about making the Dean's List.
Fantastic. Yes, making the Dean's List. It is a very prestigious honor.
What is the first thing on your mind on the Dean's List? What's made your list, Dean?
First one is the notice of proposed rulemaking that was announced by the federal government on August the 14th. We've got until this coming Saturday week to file our comments.
Okay.
In particular, one of the things that I hear a lot from drivers, they'd love to have some sort of a relief or flexibility around the split sleeper berth.
Yes.
In particular, the 5 and 5. I think the regulations they're proposing to move it to a 7 and 2, being able to split the 10-hour up into a 7 and 2 and 1. But the reality is most drivers prefer a 5 and 5.
Yeah.
5 on, 5 off, especially teams. It's a really important way to run your fleet. The reason is that most drivers only get about 4.5 hours sleep during the day.
Anyway,
if you're in a bouncing sleeper cab, it's very hard to sleep beyond that. 4.5 seems to work really well, and of course, if you do that twice a day, you've got 9 hours sleep. So you actually end up with more sleep.
Dean, what would you prefer?
5 and 5. Absolutely.
You would like 5 and 5.
5 and 5.
Why?
I just know that sitting there, because of physiology, if you're in the sleeper cab and you allow sunlight to hit the optic nerve, it wakes the brain up. So if you're trying to sleep after sunrise in a sleeper cab during the day, the probability of getting sleep is actually very low, especially good quality sleep is very low.
If you don't know this about Dean, he is also literally a sleep expert, has thousands of hours of research into the subject. And so I would say that they should listen to the proposal.
And more so, thousands of falling asleep events at the wheel, running off the road.
Wow.
So I've got some serious experience.
Thousands.
I've been to some funerals. This is a really serious topic.
Yes.
So hopefully the FMCSA is listening to the comment period.
Before we get to number 2 on your list, I just have one question. A big thing right now, and we speak about trending, is blue lighting on apps for nighttime. Is there merit to that?
Well, so have you ever asked, why is the sky blue?
Yeah.
You have. The reason is...
There is a scientific reason and not just a philosophical.
If you think about light as being invisible light, light's made up of a spectrum of colours, and they all move at a different wavelength. Right, so the blues and greens are at the shorter 450 nanometer wavelength. When they bounce off the particles coming into the atmosphere, they reflect the most. The indigos and the purples and the reds are flatter and they go through the particles. So the sky is blue because the blue light at that particular frequency gets reflected the most. So that's why the sky is blue. So long story short, we've grown up in tune with blue light. So when blue light hits the optic nerve in the morning, that's the start of the sleep-wake cycle for the next 24 hours. So if you're watching a phone that's emitting disproportionate amounts of blue light so close to the eyes, it tells the brain daylight's here, wake up, shuts down melatonin production, and delays sleep.
Yeah, I was trying to see if Dooner was on my wavelength earlier, talking about gamma waves. But now we're learning. This is what I'm talking about. Edutainment.
That was
edutainment.
All right, number 2.
Number 2, wait times. So we've seen wait times increase. We define wait time as the amount of time truckers spend unloading and loading. Since the ELD mandate came in 20 months ago, every minute you spend on a loading dock now becomes opportunity cost. For drivers,
hell.
Most carriers give them, a ship of 2 hours to unload typically, which is way too long. We've got to change that. But the problem is, for every hour a driver sits on a dock, the opportunity cost is about $20, which is 50 miles an hour at 40 cents a mile roughly.
And that's why we've called the war on detention at FreightWaves.
Absolutely. Drivers want to drive, not sit on docks, and every minute they spend on a dock comes off their weekly allowance of 60 or 70 hours.
Here's one Dean that won't give you a detention.
Or will he? He might give some shippers a detention for those detention times. So we will keep fighting that. That sounds like a whole subject for another day.
Well, one thing though, what's the worst? Yeah. Do you know what the worst market is for it, or who's really bad? Like who's the? I know like grocery stores are usually terrible offenders, right?
Oh, right.
You are exactly right. It's specialty stores, specialty stores, department stores, busy retail season. Car parks are full of shoppers. Hard to get trucks in and out. Their wait time is now up to 146 minutes per loading, unloading event.
And that's real-time data.
Yep, real-time data. And that's an increase since August the 11th of about 68%.
Wow.
So anybody hauling things that are for specialty stores, department stores, in the retail sector, wait times are through the roof.
Well, right now we're losing the war, at least the battle of the last month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Albeit temporarily.
Great information. Number three.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but winter is coming.
Well, don't blame him.
I feel like it here.
He's just the messenger.
It's about 10 degrees cooler, right, in Chattanooga? It's like a brisk 80 degrees.
85.
And my wife said we had our first frost in Boston this morning.
Ooh.
So the leaves are changing, winter's coming, the seasons change pretty quickly. What I really need to do, and I'm doing this with my Peterbilt, I'm winterizing it now.
Yeah.
I don't do an awful lot of miles, but I know that as soon as it gets cold, all of the cracks and leaks in air hoses and water hoses start to materialize.
Okay.
So what I'm doing now is I'm replacing water hoses. I'm lubricating all of the rubber seals around the door trims, the hood, greasing all the different joints in the truck, having spare fluids on hand, making sure I've got all my emergency kits. I've got my starter cables. I've got backup fluids. I've got the right level of de-icing fluid in the truck. So I would suggest now, rather than wait until it's too late, until you're on the side of the road, start thinking about how to winterize your truck now.
Preventive maintenance.
Yeah, new wiper blades is another big one.
Ooh, yeah.
Always new wiper blades. You can never have enough.
Makes a world of difference when it's just crystal clear, when it just clears,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Dean, you share some great insights online. You're a great social media follow. How can people reach out and maybe make the Dean's list?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. FreightWaves at FreightWaves ME. You can catch me
FreightWaves
on Twitter.
ME,
Nice.
Yep. Market expert.
Thank you for joining us.
He is indeed. Thank you for the edutainment.
Yeah. First, you want to hit the capo?
By all means.
How many times?
As many as you like.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Three for
He's
the
just
three.
getting down to business.
The three demerits on the Dean's list.
He's got places to be.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
We heard from Dean, and now it's time to hear from you, the readers, on the new and improved FreightWaves.com with a little thing we like to call
Comment Section Rodeo.
Oh, I love this time of the day where we get to play this game.
Yeah.
Do this segment. This is from a comment from the article AB5 Passage upends California's independent trucking model.
Big story.
From JF. So, let me see if I can understand this. A person buys a truck, goes through all the procedures to get licensed, permitted, and insured under his own company name, basically bought his own tools to do the job, and is offered a load to haul by another trucking company, works for this other company off and on, and this company is obligated to pay for his benefits. Oh, and also make sure he's got his expenses correct so he comes out with a healthy wage. Well, then I guess a contractor building a truck of houses will need to do the same when he hires out subcontractors. Good job on moving further away from capitalism and the opportunity to create your own business.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
interesting
it sounds
comparison.
tough. It sounds like a tough place to run a business now, especially with so much final mile. With this ruling, it doesn't seem like they entirely, and I understand where they're going for, which is, and I think that they're looking at the rideshare, but they're not understanding the impact this has on the people who move America, our truck drivers and freight operators.
There's regulation, and then there's too much regulation.
Yeah. Okay, so this is from W. I don't know if it's George W. Bush, but it just says W. And it says, the
Politburo.
But the Politburo, is that like a donkey? The Politburo of the People's Republic of California is ever goose step marching forward. And he put a question mark. I wasn't sure if he spelled forward correctly.
Really difficult to read.
W, you did spell forward correctly. On their agenda to become a completely communistic prefecture. All hail your supreme czar and the righteous Politburo, for they know what is best for you. I just wonder when you lemmings are going to be required to wear your rainbow uniforms at all times to stop your Praise your leaders in unison on a daily basis. Just be careful where you step. The excrement you got on your shoes may be from your comrades.
Wow.
What a laughingstock your prefecture has become.
Wow. Man, some really big vocabulary.
That got there were a lot of comments in there that like were just not fit for our own utterance.
Yeah, I can imagine. So this is from the article Schneider National Selects Platform Science for Next Gen ELD Telematics Solution. This is Nicholas G. Yeah, I've only been with him for over a month, and already I'm going to say I call total BS on the less stressful part. The sloppy performance with these tablets only makes my job more stressful than easy. Workflow often takes too long to load. Not all messengers on Messenger get sent. HOS sometimes doesn't want to function only once. I never received a work assignment, which completely screwed up my work schedule. Plus, the fact that you'll be put into driving duty immediately after going over 5 mph can be most annoying, especially when you're only moving the tractor in a yard to do a simple D&H. In my case, that's 80% of my load deliveries. Okay.
Well, it sounds tough, and there's nothing more frustrating than being out in the road in the middle of under fire, under the clock, and your technology's not working the way you want it to, and you're.
Or I could see you're trying to find a parking space, in the gas station or something, and you go 6 miles an hour, and then it triggers to. Yeah, maybe some glitches to work out, maybe some feedback.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's user error or not. But, Chad, here's the article that really got our readers fired up, and it says, Insurance Group cautions against FMCSA's short-haul proposal.
Okay.
This one's from Bill. I love it. Get paid to create a problem, then get paid to solve it. What a racket. It was never so broken, why fix it? Now that we have the tool to enforce the rules, let's go back to the original hours of service. I know it will never happen because once you spend millions on this study and that study, something for better or worse is going to change. Follow the money on this one, folks.
Okay. Well, on the same article, Chuck Sopa writes, maybe all the dumbasses that tell us how and what to do should actually jump in a truck and drive for a year and see how this works. I can think of 10 other things that make our roads unsafe before the truck driver should be blamed. Okay.
Well, David says, fatigue is probably the least likely cause of accidents at all. What a bunch of morons we have trying to control the trucking industry. The FMCSA says safety, 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 when the reality is control, control, control.
Well, like we said, regulation. Doc says, oh, great, I'm glad I don't have a CDL anymore trying to blast through bad weather traffic all because your dispatcher gave you a tight schedule. Doc pay for late arrivals, no pay for waiting, heavy fines from government for things completely out of your control, electronic logs that make you pull over and park where you're not supposed to, or truck stops that charge you to park. Glad I got out of it. Now I get a paycheck and I'm home.
Yep. Swingboat, and I think he's going to bring us out. Swingboat says, how about a required driving safety course for all of the idiots and four-wheelers whipping around me and driving into the off-ramp? Of all the reasons I hear about what causes CMV accidents, I never hear any solutions that involve proper driver training for those who don't have CDLs. Cars run into cars all the time. Cars run into trucks all the time. But we barely run into each other. Now, I see CMV drivers all the time on their phones. I've seen a driver watching TV on a tablet strapped to his sun visor. I've seen a guy driving with a newspaper opened on his steering wheel. These are all problems, but none of these things have to do with the duty driving window. I mean, yeah.
I don't know how to regulate the guy, people reading newspapers.
Yeah, that's just a behavioral thing.
Right?
I mean,
we can't, I have
shaving.
It has crossed my mind that if they really wanted to, stop speeding, they could just film all the highways all the time and just kind of auto ticket you every time you went over. Maybe I shouldn't give them any ideas. You know what I mean?
What are you trying to do over here? That would be a pretty big deal if they did that, though.
I would fight that
tooth and nail.
I would speed every day.
Woo! Little deal.
Where's Emily Szink?
Big deal.
She's the big deal.
Little deal.
Big deal.
The always on time Emily Szink.
No, she was right. She was right on deck.
She was late.
She was on time.
Okay. Fashionably late this
No,
time.
I actually was early.
Yeah.
But then
I saw you sitting right over there, but then you were like, I guess I'll wander out.
I said always on time. Yeah. Yes, given the benefit of the doubt.
Are you guys ready to play?
Yeah,
Big
we
deal,
are.
little
So
deal.
ready. We're born ready.
Glad to come back and play
Okay,
it.
well, who won last time?
Obviously me. That's why Chad has to start
That's why
first
Chad gets to go
advantage.
first.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be
Gentleman's
modest
choice.
and-
Yes. Okay, well, UPS drivers will be sporting a new polo-style shirt. Is that an athletic upgrade or just more brown cow, Chad?
Well, that is an athletic upgrade. I'm so excited for them. They're the industrial athletes out there. They are like bending over. They're hefting large packages. They're moving. They're leaping tall buildings. They're doing whatever they can in the very dense last mile area space. And these things, apparently, they've got this sweat wicking material. So
They need it.
they
Yeah.
won't, it won't show up. So there have been interesting little transformations of the uniform over the years, and this one I think is a big deal.
I'm just kidding. I just wanted him to stop talking. He was going on taking all my points from me. I was going to talk about the sweat wicking material. I could use a little bit of that in here.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of material, though, I can't, and I hope these guys are linked, but it makes me break out into like a rash. I can't like do those man-made polymers and stuff like that. But you know what? I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm glad they kept with brown, even though brown is kind of an ugly color. It's very iconic. It's very iconic of the UPS guy. It looks very similar. They just made it a little bit more athletic, and the cut's better, and a lot of the employees seem to like it. So, I mean, good for them.
Yeah, like you said, it does take a lot of athleticism. My two cousins do it during the holidays, and they say that's in the best shape they ever are. Is when they're delivering for UPS. And I guess Christmas time, too. You're running up and down those driveways.
They're delivering more stuff than ever.
You got to have a good back.
Of course. Okay, Dooner. Virginia Tech Transportation Institute received a $7.5 million federal grant to develop an automated trucking fleet to help set industry guidelines for autonomous vehicle technology. Is this a big rig deal or a Ghost Rider deal?
It's a big deal. I mean, I really like what's going on with that. I'm really interested in robotics and automation, and it's great that they're giving it to learning institutions and not just companies with a vested interest in getting their product out as quickly as possible, because another $7.5 million grant went to the Virginia Traffic Board as well to develop it. So it's nice to see the collaboration between all of these different schools of thought and institutions to put together the best product possible.
It's a Ghost Rider deal. It's a drop in the bucket. And the grant was for $50 or $60 million.
Yeah.
They only get 7.5.
Well,
come on. Like,
it's spread out over all the other institutions.
Billions in infrastructure to understand how to regulate the autonomous vehicle technology industry. Come on.
Terrible.
Oof, mic drop there.
They're
Well,
just regulated. They're just doing studies.
At FedEx, the pain continues. Weak fiscal first quarter numbers leave some wondering if the company has lost its focus. Is that a big deal or a little deal, Chad?
Let's see. Is it? I am going to. This is a tough one. It's a complicated subject. I am going to say it is a little deal. I'm thinking this through because it's not. It's a little bit of a question, I think, of whether it's a structural deal with FedEx or whether it's a cyclical deal. And I think there's some cyclical aspects to it where they will come out of it. And some of the structure things you can't completely control. It's a very complicated global industry and world we're living in, and they are a gigantic company. I think they'll come out of it.
Okay, so little deal. What do you think, Dooner?
I'll go with big deal. And the reason why is, I mean, the stock was down 12 cents. Not the hugest deal. That happens to companies. But there was a great point made in an article that we published, and it was talking about the culture of FedEx. And I worked for FedEx Trade Networks. And what really resonated with me was what they were talking about, how FedEx has, for a long time, sort of neglected some of their adopted children to build out their own parcel business. And that was a feeling I oftentimes and other people kind of echoed, and I'd heard when I was working at FedEx Trade Networks, that we were just the brokerage arm, but we were kind of the little kid on the block. We were a little bit ignored. We didn't get all the attention that the people down in Memphis did. So I think that there's some merit in that, and I think that FedEx needs to get a little bit more nimble and because it's not all just parcel delivery.
Yeah, good point there and good insight. Well, small fleets continue to add to their tractor counts by 5% since last September. Over that same time, fleets who operate more than 1,000 units have decreased tractor count size by almost 3.5%. Are you buying or selling this deal?
Well, the reason why you're seeing these smaller carriers buy up trucks isn't to grab, your traditional type of capacity. A lot of them are trying to add capacity to the market for things like, like the XPO's new brokerage app. I believe it's called XPO Go. Things like Uber Freight. So they want to get into that on-demand network and use load boards like truckstop.com to pick up freight and tap into that market. So I don't think it's a huge deal because I don't think that they're buying them in mass in the sense that happened last year that put a lot of trucking carriers in the bad place that they are.
I don't think that was an option. I mean, it's like it's
not
a little deal.
It's a little deal.
Oh, you're saying it's a little deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just wasn't huge.
I am going to say that the overall issue of tractor counts and capacity in the industry is a big deal, and these guys that are they're trying to beef up some of their capacity. They only have 1 to 6 trucks in these cases, but I think that they should be careful, like about adding too much capacity back with rates such as they are. So big deal, and we need to.
That's Drive by XPO. I believe that's Drive by XPO. Did I say XPO Go? I believe it's
Drive
by XPO.
Okay. Yes, they sponsor.
Of course.
The night shift.
No, that's why I wanted to correct myself.
Yes.
I was just.
Well, we appreciate that.
I had HBO Go in my
Yes.
head. XPO.
I got
is-
HBO Go.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do too.
Appreciate you.
Well, this one is really interesting. Last mile delivery drivers may start doing assembly of your products at your home. Put it together or take it apart, Chad. How do you feel?
Big deal for me because I have
you
trouble.
don't have to do it.
Well, yeah, because it's hard for me to put some of those things together. The drawings are usually really small and just like a drawing, and it's not like clear, the instructions.
Like IKEA.
And I'm not super.
You want like written instructions? You want to like read it instead?
I want a good
step
story.
1, 2. Yeah.
I hope they start off with a attention-getting sentence and give me a good plot. No, so big deal because also, as we talk about this autonomous stuff, drivers may be becoming less relevant in the space. Maybe they'll have little drone bots everywhere doing the deliveries, and this keeps them employed in a necessary part of the supply chain.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's a big deal, but not for the reasons he said. Like what you just said right now is kind of stupid. I mean, honestly, because they're not going to put them in the truck.
Personal.
They would dispatch them.
That
they
is
would
not stupid.
They would dispatch them in trucks. They would have satellite builders that they would freelance contractors, on-demand contractors, and they would have them come in cars to people's houses. I don't think they would have them in the truck driving.
That's not
Why would you employ a driver to do that?
Well, that's what Vishnu was saying in the article. That
I just think that doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
I don't think that if you're going to have automated trucks bring it there, I guess I could disagree with Vishnu then. I don't think that if you have automated trucks, I don't think you just put a driver in the truck to assemble furniture. I think that it would be quicker to just have it drop it off than another guy come, so then that truck can move. Why would you leave the truck there and have the guy come back?
It's crazy. You've got the future all figured out already.
I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense the way that played out.
No,
Dude
actually,
living in 2030.
you might not be right there. I don't know because you're talking about 2 different delivery.
Why would it make sense for the? Okay, never mind.
I think you guys have had too much time together.
No, here's the thing.
Too much traveling.
That may be true.
But in terms of the assembly, why did it take so long? People hate assembling stuff. We're getting lazier than ever. People don't even go out to get their food. So, of course, they want someone to come in and fix it. And I don't think I've ever made a piece of IKEA furniture that I haven't at least put a panel on backwards first and then had to take it apart at some point. It's frustrating. I'm sick of holding Allen wrenches.
That is true.
I know. I've got a collection of them.
A water main burst in Chattanooga, cutting the city off from their water for 36 hours. Wow. Is this a big deal or just a drop in the bucket, Chat? Or Dooner, you go
Dooner's turn.
I was affected by it over where I am on the North Shore, and it fortunately didn't last that long. When you're in those situations, you're like, especially in the Northeast, we lose power and stuff, and you never know when it's going to come back, and that's where the real concern comes in. Especially when you have little kids like I do, you have pets. We have a water bubbler, so we had enough water to take care of us, but it's hot in Chattanooga. I was starting to smell. I had to go on an airplane. I was afraid all the Chattanoogans I'd be on the airplane with would be stinking.
They were all stinking with you.
I mean, sometimes they just stink anyway. I'm just kidding.
It's getting a little smelly in here right now.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's warm in this room. What the big deal about it is that this other report came out that the news station relieved that the city of Chattanooga had told Tennessee Water multiple times they need to fix the infrastructure there because one break could shut down the whole system. And it happened. It was like in a disaster movie.
Now there's a class action suit. So
good. I was about to say that.
Far, yeah.
I think this is a big deal. It affects it was it's one of those things. Like sometimes when our electricity goes out, we're like, "Yep, we're really dependent on electricity, and we're aware of this." Mm-hmm. When your water goes out, you suddenly are like, "Wait, I can't go to work. We can't flush the toilets. We can't take a shower. We can't." And then it goes even all the way down to I'm at Walmart trying to get a little meat from the deli section.
It's closed.
They can't cut my meat because they can't wash the blades because there might be that. It just goes on and on and on, all the different small things you don't think about when you can't trust your water supply. Yeah. It's an infrastructure thing, and I'm pretty worked up about it still.
Yeah, poor businesses.
And all the businesses down here that had to shut down for the weekend.
Yeah, a lot of us had to work remote, too.
Because impacted a lot of people.
You can't have offices with 100 or 1,000 people with toilets that can't flush. That's going to cause a much bigger problem.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and now they're kind of working through it, and we'll see where it legally ends up. Yeah. Well, we're getting new What the Truck t-shirts. Wear that deal or take it off, Chad. I don't think I should say that.
This is great. This is a big deal. I'm so excited.
I didn't know. I just reading what's on the script. What kind of shirts? I want to hear about this.
I think it might be, we've been talking to Barry, I think it might be like a black design, that almost like a tour shirt. It's got some information on the back. It's got a more of a simplified logo.
Oh, like a tour shirt. Because you guys tour a lot. I love that.
Maybe some of the streaming sites, the What the Truck live shirt, since we're live all the time.
Maybe we'll get them in sizes that are real popular and then we won't run out and only have triple X's.
Well, dude, our other shirt, I don't even have the blue one. It's so popular. You see people here wearing it all the time. I don't even have on the show. I don't have my own shirt. So I'm glad that they're having them so I can finally have my own. But it'll be great to give them away. And the nice thing about having another shirt is it won't. And I'm glad we're going with a different one than the regular one because it won't create redundancy. So now people can wear 2 What the Truck shirts a week.
Not 1, but 2.
Or 4.
Wow.
But the blue one is classic and great, but now I think we're going to have a black one, and I'm really looking forward to that. That's
I'm glad
color.
we agreed on those those last 2 big deal, little deals.
Yeah.
I think I won that round.
I think
Are you excited to have a What the Truck shirt?
I am, because I always get jealous of the other ones. There's some slick-looking shirts.
You're I'm a recurring regular on the show. I should have a shirt.
Exactly.
Wow.
Are you guys hitting the road anytime soon? You just were in Houston.
I haven't heard the latest update. Are we going to Dallas?
You're kind of I don't know. You're kind of our manager. You
I know. I'm the show booker.
We need to ask Arlen and Dale if we're going to Dallas.
Dale, Bradford, those teams. I think. Who else gets them? Kevin.
Is that in October?
Seem like the 3 guys.
Yeah, October 19th.
Yes, okay, that may be happening.
Pencil us in.
We will for sure be at FreightWaves Live.
Yes.
Now the greenest event in Freight Tech.
So cool.
Right on.
We're going green. Great article online. Yeah.
Yeah,
we like the agenda too. A lot of emceeing by you. You're going to be a busy lady there.
I will be busy. It'll be fun.
Times.
Yeah.
Big deal.
That is a big deal. Good thing you didn't say little deal.
Well, I guess you can hang here because this was our last segment. So
I'll stay.
Go to freightwaves.com/podcast. You can find the old episodes of this show in the audio version. If you want the video version, go to our YouTube channel, the FreightWaves YouTube channel. Smack that bell. Bang. When you subscribe, you'll get a notification every time one of these come up. We also have FreightWaves Insiders. I did that this week with Ian Jeffries. He's the CEO and president of the Association of American Railroads. That's out now.
Yes.
FreightWaves.com/podcast or your favorite podcast player of choice. Just like this show. You guys, we have an Off the Supply Chain that's going to be streaming
tomorrow
at noon, right? 12 Eastern.
Yeah, we come out at noon on Friday.
It's actually extremely timely with everything going on in Houston with the extreme flooding. We're talking about disruption in the supply chain.
Thank you. Yes,
in terms
exactly.
of weather. So,
okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to ask what the topic is.
Yeah,
very informative with what's happening.
Yeah.
That could be a show. What's the topic?
What's the topic?
It sure could be. Yeah, we've got all kinds of plans. Lots of crazy things happening with FreightWaves TV each and every day around here. We've got new shows in the offing and planning.
Yeah. Not ready to announce yet, but maybe in the future we'll have a smash reel or something.
Yeah.
There's definitely more stuff in the works, more heavily produced content. Not overproduced, but just produced content, on location kind of stuff. Just a little teaser.
Maybe
going on tour.
Yeah.
All right.
FreightWaves Radio over the weekend. Road Dog Trucking, Sirius XM Channel 146, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Johnny Kingston has most of the segments on there because I'm going to be at a wedding in Rhode Island.
Oh, well, nice. Have a good time there.
Thanks, guys.
Who's getting married?
My sister and my wife's a triplet, and her sister is getting married. So I guess my sister-in-law.
Wow, your wife's a triplet.
Yes.
3 are they originals or replicas?
No, there's a boy in there. But they're all identical. No, I'm just kidding.
They're okay. Well, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
And we'll see you.
Oh, wait, hold on a second.
Oh.
At Chad Prevost on the Twitter.
That's right.
At Timothy Dooner. At Emily Szink.
We make it easy so people can find us.
And that is SZINK.
Yeah, that's the silent.
That is. All right, let's turn the ignition on our closing theme. Little cowbell for the people who are flooding in Houston.
Yes, we're thinking about you, and in Shreveport.
Little cowbell for going green with, FreightWaves Live.
FreightWaves Live, all kinds of great things happening around here.
Little cowbell for brand new shows. Because you've been listening to What the Drug! Oh, little cowbell for our listeners.
Shout out to Morgan Hugh.
Yeah.
Hope you're feeling better, buddy.
Oh, yeah, a little cowbell for Morgan Hugh and a little cowbell to beat that appendix or whatever's going on.
Yeah, shout out to Silent Barry. Hope you're staying quiet out there, Bear.
Good night.